No, I'll tell you, it looks like if there were one of these black and whites behind the suspect vehicle, it would look like us just following a car in traffic on the 405. There's really nothing to differentiate this, that the suspect is trying to flee in any way, other than the felony evading, that he's not complying with the officers behind him. So we're continuing northbound here on the 405, coming up on the Ventura Boulevard 101 exit here, starting to know a lot of traffic. But, you know, it's interesting that you talked about before, if we know we can run the plate, if this vehicle actually belongs to the suspect, it could be a stolen vehicle, therefore it obviously would not come back to the suspect's home address or location. But you are right, they do know the suspect, they know that he's wanted for this vandalism, more than likely a misdemeanor vandalism in the hotel room. But why he'd be running from the police and why he's running at such a slow speed here, just normal speeds, is quite the mystery here as we continue here on the northbound 405 in the Sherman Oak area. Yeah, it looks like he's staying in the left lane. You see that gore point there? That was the transition to the 101, which he passed up. So it looks like we're committed here to the northbound 405. In a pursuit intervention technique, a pit maneuver, if you will, is something they could consider. But the reason they're probably not doing it is because of all the traffic around. They don't want to send this car out of control into another innocent driver's vehicle and possibly risk that driver being injured. So again, there is a supervisor that is in charge of this pursuit. We're looking at about 4 or 5 black and whites behind the suspect vehicle. There's an additional 2 black and whites doing what's called a traffic brake behind them, slowing traffic down behind them so they don't encroach on the officers from the rear. And that is really causing a mess, as we mentioned earlier, on the northbound 405 and Sepulveda Pass. And that's going to chain reaction probably for some good time behind here, an already crowded, busy time of the afternoon here. Coming up here on crossing Ventura, right under the Ventura Freeway, the 101 right now, as we continue southbound. But it's very interesting that this is, again, so slow, very calm, but which officers like, to be quite honest. It's not a dangerous pursuit. It's not necessarily putting anybody in jeopardy right now as they continue southbound at these speeds. That this could be, but right now, again, I think the best option for them, if they decide to do so, would be a spike strip, and if that deploys and they do that, we'll let you know right after it happens. I think we're a little low. I'm going to bump it up. I don't want to be in their way. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. In the very rare case, we usually know the outcome. We were put to the test a couple of weeks ago on a pursuit, but usually they're in custody. You can't outrun a helicopter or you can't outrun a radio. So the idea, and that is part of the suspects, usually their train of thought, and whenever they're taken into custody, and the question's always asked, well, why did you run? And, well, I just wanted to stay out of cuffs just a little bit longer. They know they're going to jail. They're just trying to prolong them being out of those handcuffs as long as they can. The pursuit here continues here as we go northbound on the 405. We're about to cross Victory Boulevard here, coming into the Van Nuys area, right at Van Nuys Airport. Looking ahead, Danny talked about it, slow and go traffic all the way up to the 118 freeway here. You can see pockets of slowing like you would normally see. It doesn't look too terrible, but it's still early in the afternoon here. Another half an hour, this will be a completely different story. So it'll be interesting to see the tactics that the CHP uses here to take the suspect in custody. This, so far as we know, misdemeanor vandalism suspect now wanted for felony evading here in this two-door Mercedes Coupe northbound on the 405, and this very unusual pursuit continues. Yeah. No, that's just a different vehicle CHP uses. They use that to be a little less conspicuous when they're working speed traps or that type of a thing, and it's just a different look for the California Highway Patrol. A little harder to distinguish them from the black and whites there, but that's one of the new the Ford Interceptors that they have here. No, it doesn't distinguish a supervisor or a different type of officer. Just another unit who happened to grab that particular vehicle today. But again, there is a supervisor involved in the pursuit, and we often talk about this, and it's a very difficult job. The supervisor job is to constantly manage the pursuit. What do we do next? Do we do this? Do we do that? Do we go into tracking? And again, they're constantly weighing how important it is to take the suspect in custody against the public safety. And right now, he's not really causing a public safety issue, so they're staying on the pursuit. If it does change, those tactics could change. But right now, they're very content with just letting the suspect drive in normal speeds and normal traffic and staying behind them and being there when they decide to give it up. Yeah. Yep, we're crossing over Sherman Way right now. You'll see the Sherman Way overpass come into play right in here, right at Van Nuys. Next off-ramp will be Roscoe Boulevard, and just a couple more off-ramps will be at the 118, and we'll see what he decides to do here, whether go up into the Newhall Pass, into the Santa Clarita Valleys, or maybe go west to Simi Valley, or maybe even east on the 118 back into the Pacoima area. Yep. No, he's got a lot of space right now. In fact, I'm looking ahead of him, and he's probably 20 car lengths in front of a white van up ahead of him. So giving lots of space, not tailgating anybody, slow speeds. Again, not utilizing that wide open carpool lane at all, which is, we're looking wide open all the way up to the 118. So content to stay where he's at, which is a predictable thing right now in this pursuit, judging by what he's been doing. He's been staying in that left lane, that number one lane, predictable action. So that could have bearing on what the officers decide to do as far as a pursuit intervention technique or tactic. That could be involve a spike strip. And the good thing about the spike strips, and we talk about this all the time, it's a long cylindrical fabric type of system that has a lot of these very pointed, hollowed pins inside. So when they run that over, it puts these pins or these sharp tubes into the tire and slowly deflates the tire. So it's not going to quickly blow out those tires or cause a safety or a wreck issue. It's going to slowly deflate them. So that would be a good opportunity. But but what it also does is exposes officers to be in front of that vehicle, which is a tactical concern. They don't want to go out in the middle of traffic, especially on a freeway, and expose themselves to that suspect turning that wheel into the officers or create an officer safety issue, or even maybe an officer involved shooting issue, which could, if they decide to do that. But it's very bad idea. They have to have the right area, they have to have the right tactics, and there's certain things they deploy and certain decisions they make to do that, and we'll see if they actually do that here with a spike strip. We'll let you know. Well, it is, again, it's slow and go here between the 118. We're coming up on Roscoe here. He's moved over to the second from the right, this second to the slow lane here, right at Roscoe. That's the Roscoe on-ramp here, right near the Budweiser plant factory here. And it looks like traffic up ahead is very, very slow. But again, we see pockets of stopped and slow traffic, and then it right before the 118, it opens up again. But we're looking ahead, and again, in a patch of traffic right now, so he is maneuvering a little bit. Maybe the most we can get him on right now. Maybe an unsafe lane change. I can't tell in Air 7 right now if he's signaling or not. But again, the most egregious want right now is felony evading, and obviously the misdemeanor vandalism. Yeah. Yeah, a very rock star thing to do, the vandalism, the hotel thing. So we don't know if that's going to turn out to be anything. As they approach northbound on the 405 at Nordhoff here, trashing a hotel room, you wouldn't normally see a suspect running from that, but that seems to happen in the entertainment world. But again, slow speeds here, and the traffic's starting to let up a little bit. But this is the slow and go pockets here on the 405 as you continue up towards the 118. But as we get closer to the 118 here, just past Nordhoff, it seems to, or just before Nordhoff, I should say, seems to open up right to the 118. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, looking back behind us again, I keep mentioning it, that northbound 405 all the way back from the Sapporo Pass is much, much slower than we're seeing ahead of him. So again, we'll have that CHP officers running the traffic brake behind them. They're going back and forth from the left lane to the right lanes in serpentine patterns to try to get those vehicles behind them to slow down, not to overcome. We did see a white van hauling by both primary and secondary units here. Not sure what he was doing, but I don't see him anymore. But he's just continuing in that left lane, that number 1 lane here, and it looks like just coming up on Nordhoff here, and it looks like traffic is going to open up here back to about 55, 65 miles an hour just within the next few seconds here. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it looks like California Highway Patrol Air Support has taken over the pursuit from LAPD. You can see that on the bottom of your screen. Such an important tool, especially during pursuits and pretty much in all law enforcement. They're the eyes in the skies, making sure that they broadcast all the suspects' activities, all their actions, what they're doing, how they're driving, not only to the officers and supervisors in the pursuit, but back to headquarters, back to the main station and the watch commander, so they can help make that decision. And of course, if the suspect runs, they're overhead and able to set up a perimeter or a containment around the suspect, get him locked down, get K9 there. And right now we're back up to about 50 miles an hour as we approach the 118. It's wide open here between between Nordhoff and the 118. Wide open, clear sailing here. We'll see what he does as he comes up to the 118. Well, no, that can be used as a tactic. They know when the air support tactical flight officer in the aircraft has eyes on the suspect, they know they don't have to be right on top of him. They know they don't have to be, if he bails out, they don't have to be right on top of him. It's such a valuable tool in so many ways with the infrared systems they have on board at night for the night sun systems, all the tools that they use to take suspects into custody. It actually takes some of that pressure off the officers. You don't want to be in a pursuit without air support over you, because they're the eyes in the skies. They're going to be the ones getting back up to you if you go into a pursuit of the suspect in neighborhoods that you may not know. It's very, very important for those officers to have that noise and that helicopter and that comforting noise of that helicopter overhead when you're chasing suspects. So that is the case here. CHP air support overhead, as in most pursuits, as it continues, and looks like we're committed to the northbound 405 from the 118 approaching the 5 freeway up towards the Newhall Pass. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, we're looking at about 50 miles an hour, 55 miles an hour in Air 7 HD across the ground. But we're going to run into a little pocket of traffic here as we transition from the 405 to the 5 here in the Sylmar area. That transition always gets a little slow. Not too terrible, and not too terrible, but we're going to continue into the transition here onto the 5, and we'll be hitting that pocket of traffic. Looking ahead up on the 5 through the Newhall Pass, it looks like it is moving. It is not stopped. All the way up through the 210. I don't see any major incidents, but so far we're early enough in the afternoon that it doesn't appear to be much of a traffic issue so far. Oat. No. Oat for IFB. Sorry, guys. We had to adjust something on our radios here as we continue northbound here. But yeah, so you see some of that slowing they're approaching right now. And again, not too terrible as we transition into the pass. But yeah, a little light. It just seems, you know, it just seems whenever we get these pursuits that sometimes traffic just works out for these guys. More times than not, we see these pursuits, and it just looks like they get the luck of the draw with the traffic. And he's at a complete stop right now, but not apparently giving up or doing anything to try to get a better look inside that vehicle. We're doing a little change on the audio, but right now the vehicle is he's stopped here, but now he's continuing here. Multiple CHP units continue in the pursuit. No, not at all. Thank you. Yeah, you can see that. You can see that right hand on the steering wheel. Can't really see his left hand. We're going to pull out a little bit here, so we're. Okay, Roger. Oh, it looks like they're going to do a pit maneuver right here. It looks like he's trying to get in position here to do a pit. Sounds like they got the okay to do it, but that CHP unit got in a position and the suspect picked up a little speed. So we'll see as we transition here onto the 5 freeway whether they decide to do that again. That's where we pulled out. But yeah, a very calm demeanor of the driver. Right hand on the steering wheel. Very, very calm. Looks like the left hand might have been off the steering wheel, but we have now completed that transition on the 5 as we continue northbound here near the San Fernando Reservoir in the Sylmar area, approaching the 210. We'll see if they set up for that that maneuver here as they come out of the tunnel. Everybody knows that tunnel going onto the 5. Yeah, he has just transitioned from the 405 onto the 5, and now we're on the 5 between approaching the 210. Yeah. 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 Yeah, it looked like he got close and was getting ready to do it, and then either saw something or saw that the suspect reacted to it, trying to catch a suspect by surprise to get him to do it, but apparently he didn't, and maybe they're back off and they're reevaluating, see him trying to creep up that interceptor a little bit closer here, or maybe get another unit in there that may be pit qualified. Now, it's important to know that the officers go through specific training to do this. It's not just any officer that can do this. In fact, we're going to be passing by we just passed it by Davis Training Center here for LAPD, where their driver evoc training center is, where they actually teach that maneuver. We just passed it here on the 5 freeway, and that is where the drivers and all the officers get certified to do this particular move. They practice it over and over and over again until they get it right with the driving instructors. A very interesting move. It's kind of difficult to do, difficult to master, but everybody that is pit qualified is the only ones allowed to do it for department policy. It depends on departments, obviously, but the department policy says the only ones allowed to do it. So some of these CHP officers. I would assume they're all pit qualified, but you never know. Maybe one moved in and try to get one that has more experience doing it, or more recently trained. Those types of things are everything that these supervisors in these pursuits are weighing and making decisions on over the radio right now. Continuing northbound on the 5 freeway, coming up on the 210 right, and looking up ahead on the 5 through the Newhall Pass, it is moving at 55 miles an hour, 65 miles an hour plus, wide open. Yeah, a little bit. He's gotten into a little bit of slowing here, but as soon as we pass the 210, and some of the slowing you're seeing may be just some of the people here hearing the sirens or looking in the rearview mirror and seeing all the black and whites in the rearview mirror and knowing that they're coming. But yeah, that could be some of it. But again, looking ahead, and we don't really see anything stopped up ahead past the 14. But we'll see as we get into the Newhall area, past the 5, we'll see where how that plays out. Right. And it's a perishable skill set. If you're you have been trained in that maneuver as a police officer, and it has been a long time, and you haven't deployed that technique, it's a perishable skill set. So it will always get recurrent training. They have to go through so much training over certain years. Again, that supervisor knows all of his officers and what they're trained in. So they may have an officer that's actually got more training, recent training, if you will, to actually do the maneuver. So these are all things that normally aren't talked about in the decisions that these supervisors make. But that is things that are going through their minds and how they supervise these pursuits. We're going to tighten back up on the suspect here as he's continuing on the 5, and it looks like he's going transition. We'll see if he takes the 14 or he stays with the 5, and we'll let you know here in a second here. We're getting to that area that the transition road, and I think we might be on the transition to the northbound 14 from the 5. It looks like he may be committed to the northbound 14. Yeah. Yeah, we're seeing the same thing in Air 7. It's clear sailing up ahead. I can't see around the corner. Oh, well, you know what? I'm looking up ahead, a little bit further up past the Sand Canyon area. It looks like there is a lot more slowing up ahead. But just in the first few miles here, the 14 off the 5, it appears to be pretty wide open. So you know what? Well, guys, I'll have to correct you. I'll have to correct myself, I should say. It looks like he did transition. He took that road and did transition on the 5. That is our mistake. It looked like the truck trail there. But it appears that he did commit to the 5. So we're not on the 14. So everybody up on off the 14 can not worry about their commute. We're going to stick with the 5 here. And again, looking up on the 5, coming through the Newhall area, it appears to be fairly clear sailing. Again, speeds 55, 65 miles an hour. Not a problem whatsoever. Right. Right, and let me be clear. So there is such thing as felony vandalism. They just have to do a lot of damage. So it depends on the amount of the damage they did. That could be determined to be a felony as well. But definitely have felony evading right now. Situation. So it's a felony no matter what. But the original want for the vandalism still would be very interested to know the details of that. I'm sure we'll find out as we continue here in coming up on Cal Grove on the northbound 5 in the Newhall Pass. No, we passed Silmar. Yeah, we're coming down the hill into the Santa Clarita Valley now, approaching Cal Grove, Lyons Avenue, and that area there. Yeah, and that's a good thing for public safety. And usually in these pursuits, Colleen and Ellen, we usually tell people, hey, you know what? If you're in the area, we let people, our viewers know that the suspect's in the area, they're driving erratically, especially when they get on side streets, just to let people know where the pursuit is, the demeanor, and the actions the driver is taking, so people can make decisions when they're watching ABC7 Eyewitness News at home, whether to bring their kids are outside, whether to bring them inside, and not have to worry about them coming down their side streets. And that's why it's so important to get the information out. In this situation, this is just another car, at least at this particular time, that's moving on the freeway, normal freeway speeds, not doing any big lane changes or anything relatively dangerous. Now, that doesn't mean that the suspect may be wanted for something more egregious, more dangerous, could have a weapon. All those things we may not know. CHP may know. So all those things have not been determined as of yet, or at least we don't know about it. But if we certainly learn about it, we'll let you know. But right now, the only warrant is the original vandalism warrant we told you about and felony evading. But CHP and officers could have more, and you can bet that there are officers right now in Inglewood talking to those officers on the ground, trying to figure out everything that's going on, trying to make contact with the suspect, figure out who he is, run his rap sheet, see what kind of background he has. Is he wanted for resisting arrest? Is he violent with officers? Is he violent at all? So those are all the things that are happening in the background right now, and getting all that intelligence to the officers in the pursuit that need it to make tactical decisions when this thing ends. Yep, work on the 5 here. We're about to cross the Lyons Avenue off-ramp here. It looks like he's getting over to the right lane, but it's uncertain if he'll make that off-ramp again. We'll let you know if he does. But he's so far committed to the northbound 5 here, coming through the Newhall area. Looking ahead up at traffic, and we see nothing. It's wide open, 55, 65 at least, all the way up here as it goes up towards the Grapevine, towards Lake Pyramid, Castaic area. We don't see anything worth that's going to slow him down at all. Yeah, we'll pull out and show you right now. Black and whites are at least 3 or 4. You can see that. Oh, well, this is interesting. We'll see what happens here. This is unusual. Maybe using that van for cover. Well, he was going to try to. He was going to try to get in behind that van, use him for cover, and maybe pop in and surprise the suspect. But the van had different plans, so he continues northbound. But it almost looked like he wanted to maybe get a better look at the suspect or put himself in a position to do a pit maneuver. CHP air support still overhead. I'm counting 4 units directly behind the suspect, and another 2 units doing a traffic break behind the traffic, and there's a very large space between the back of this pursuit and the traffic there. And the traffic behind looks much, much better too. So if you're planning to come northbound on the 5 here through Santa Clarita, it doesn't look too bad as a result of this pursuit. No. Yep. We're coming up on McBean Parkway here, northbound 5. We continue looking at speeds. I'm looking at Air 7 right now, probably 55 miles per hour. Again, well below the speed limit here. But you see some of the slowing of the cars behind. I think that has to do with the emergency equipment on the vehicles. You've got 3 or 4 black and whites with their lights and sirens on. That makes a racket, especially at this lower speeds. They're going to be able to hear that, and that's probably slowing down some of that traffic ahead of the suspect. So, but again, if I look ahead, I don't see any of that slowing up ahead at all. Yeah, a great shot there from camera operator Rob Gluckman of the CHP air support right over the top of this pursuit as it continues here. Their job is so important in this pursuit and maintaining the communications. They'll actually take over the broadcast for the primary and secondary units, making sure that they're putting out the information on where the suspect is, speeds, everything relative to the pursuit and the management of the pursuit. So the driving officers can just focus on the driving, focus on the suspect, and not have to worry about it. That's one of the things these tactical flight officers and pilots from the air support divisions across Southern California do to make sure these things stay safe. We are crossing Valencia Boulevard here, northbound 5, looking at about 65 miles, 65, 70 maybe right now, miles per hour. Hour 30. Yeah, David, welcome, Ellen. Continuing on this very slow speed, normal pursuit, if you want to call it a normal based on what we normally see here in Southern California during these pursuits. Very relatively slow speeds, safe pursuit being managed well by the California Highway Patrol. Again, started in Inglewood, where this suspect allegedly trashed a hotel, vandalized a hotel room in the Inglewood area. Somehow, some way, Inglewood police went into pursuit of the suspect. Got on the freeway here. We picked it up northbound 405 in the West LA area, where the California Highway Patrol took over the pursuit from Inglewood. We're trying to look back to see if Inglewood is actually trailing the pursuit, where sometimes the primary agencies that initiate these pursuits stay with the pursuit to take the suspect into custody and bring him back to the area that the crime occurred. But we are continuing here northbound, and we've gone through the San Fernando Valley, up through the Newhall area, and now we're getting into the Magic, coming up on northbound 5, and the off-ramp is, we just passed, I should say, Magic Mountain Parkway, and we are approaching the 126, Highway 126 here, up in the Valencia area of this pursuit. Right now, suspect originally wanted for what we think is a misdemeanor vandalism, now obviously turned into a felony evading situation. California Highway Patrol has about 5 or 6 units in the pursuit, and it is continuing at relatively safe speeds and relatively safe driving from the suspect, who wants to get away from the officers, but not trying very hard. Right. Yeah, that's the truth, David. And again, the officers on the ground may know much more than we know. And even if they don't, they treat every situation, even though he's only wanted for misdemeanor vandalism, they don't know what he's running for. They don't know. There may be an unreported crime that's happened that they don't know about. So it's always taken very, very cautiously here as we go underneath Newhall Ranch Road, Highway 126, and continue northbound here. And we'll see if yeah, it was uncertain there, but we're continuing northbound here, but they just never know, so they always treat these things, rightfully so, that the suspect could and be wanted for something more serious, could have a weapon, always a concern, especially when it comes to making that pit maneuver. We talked about it earlier, that pursuit intervention technique where they disengage the back end of that vehicle with the officer's vehicle, and that becomes an issue because you're right up next to that suspect's vehicle, and if he is armed, it becomes an issue here. We are continuing here, and I will let you know cross street as we get it, but again, safe speeds. We're looking at speeds here in Air 7 at about 55 miles per hour here, and there's plenty of air support overhead, plenty of units behind, and this is a very manageable pursuit at this time. Slow, safe speeds. Now we just got to get them into custody. Well, I'll tell you what's going on here. We're not seeing any of that blocking of the on-ramps, but he is driving at such a slow speed right now, and there's traffic breaks going on behind. So we get 2 or 3 CHP black and whites actually blocking the traffic from taking him over. So because of his slow speeds, and everyone, even the semis going up the hill, are doing a much faster speeds than he is. So they're all ahead. They've already got the head start because he's driving so slow. They're all gaining distance on him, so that's why it looks like it's so empty. But again, it doesn't seem to be very heavy at all up here on that 5 as we're coming up on I believe Hasley Canyon, coming up near Castaic area, but it's wide open. And you know, the suspect obviously hasn't needed to drive very fast. He's still not in custody, driving slowly, but we'll see if there's any techniques used by the CHP here. We think there might be, but we're not sure when or where that might happen. But after it happens here, we will let you know as we continue northbound on the 5 approaching Parker Road. No. Yes. Right. Right, right. Yep. Yeah, he's crossing 5 here now, just crossing Parker Road here, and looking at about speeds about 60 miles per hour. But I think you nailed it, David. You absolutely hit it on the head. We don't want to make light of these, but we see these pursuits all the time. Coming up on Lake Hughes Road, I should say, as our next off-ramp. But the only one he's really passing are these slower semi-trucks that are going much slower as they come up the grade here, working their way towards the grapevine. But yeah, again, we don't know the situation. Again, we only know what we're being told by law enforcement at this time, and that's the misdemeanor. But it's usually in situations like this, unless there's something else going on mentally with the suspect, is some kind of psychological situation, is that they don't run unless they're wanted for something more than this. They're gonna, it's not like something they're gonna get a 3-strike on or anything like that. This is a misdemeanor, but right now he's a felony suspect. So you almost have to assume, and you don't like to assume, but officers have to assume for officer safety issues that he may be wanted for something more egregious or dangerous. So that's what there is in their mindset. Here as we pass Lake Hughes Road, and this is where the 5 crosses over. I call it the English section because the freeway goes on the wrong side of the road here. It actually crosses over to the west side. Northbound traffic now on the west side, and southbound traffic is on the east side here as it crosses over here as we come up in past Castaic area as we go climb up towards the Lake Pyramid area, climbing up the incline. Well, go ahead. Obviously, his slower driving is going to make him more fuel efficient. That's for sure. So when you're driving at these speeds, the fuel he has on board is obviously going to last him a much longer time, as opposed to suspects trying to get away at 95, 100 miles an hour. But that tank's going to go a little longer. But I don't know about going up this grade at this speed either. That's going to obviously tick into that tank just quite a bit more here. But we understand there may have, we passed Lake Hughes Road. There was talk that there might have been pursuit intervention technique or tactic used in that area. Uncertain what the result of that was. But we are by Lake Hughes Road, again, Abeam Castaic Lake. As we continue northbound on the 5, it's uncertain if that had an effect on the suspect. Push it. Well, right now we don't. If it is stolen, it's an unreported stolen. We haven't got any information from the California Highway Patrol that this is a stolen vehicle. But oftentimes, when there are vehicles used in the commission of a crime, that they are stolen vehicles that just may be unreported. So we're not saying that's the case in this situation, but it could be. So if they run the plate and it comes back to the registered owner and they contact the registered owner, you can be assured that officers have probably made contact or gone to the registered owner's house to figure out, hey, who is this person? Who are they? If it's not the registered owner, then they can assume that it is an unreported stolen, and or all the circumstances revolving around the vandalism of the hotel. I'm sure they're learning all that intelligence, but it very well could be the suspect's vehicle. It could be registered to the suspect. They could know exactly who they're dealing with. They could be talking to family members and trying to make contact with the suspect. And a lot of times you'll see that when the California Highway Patrol or anybody in pursuit backs off and they give the distance and they don't try to do in these intervention techniques, that they're trying to communicate with them. They're trying to talk and say, hey, listen, what's going on? How can we help you? Almost like a negotiation in a barricaded escalated SWAT standoff. They want to talk and they want to end this peacefully. Hey, what can we do for you? We're not going to hurt you. Those types of things are going on right now. If they make contact with a suspect and they talk to a family member and they're able to get a hold of them. So that might be something that's happening again. I don't want to speculate because we just don't know, but typically in these situations, those are part of the scenarios. Yeah. It could. I don't want to go into all the tactics and techniques revolving around that, but obviously the run flats are designed to take a punishment, and that could have an effect. It may maybe take a little bit longer, if you will, for the tires to deflate, but eventually it will have the effect it needs to have. Run flat tires are not completely. I should say. What's the word I'm looking for? They're not immune to any of that type of stuff. They're designed to, if you get a flat tire, that you can drive to somewhere safe and try to get that changed or replaced. But they're not designed to run flat forever. So especially in hot days like today, very very hot temperatures out here as we climb in the San Cruz Valley up into the Grapevine area, very warm. All those conditions, as Dave Kuntz would tell you, that plays a part on these tires, and he may be the one to be able to talk to that in more detail. But it doesn't mean that these run flats are immune to the spike strips. Right. Yeah, it's possible. We've seen these go up in the Bakersfield area, the high desert area, and what we will try to do is we'll try to stay as high as we can to get you a signal back for as long as we can. But if it continues past the Grapevine down into the Central Valley area, that can become an issue if it continues up northbound. But we're going to stay with it as long as we can and keep you updated on this. And right now we should have quite a ways here before that happens. But we are approaching Pyramid Lake here, and I missed that last information coming from the desk. But we're it's still coming up on Templin Highway here at probably 60 miles an hour. And really the only one he's passing right now are the semi-trucks. All the passenger vehicles I can't even see one inside. They're all semis that are going up this very steep grade, as we all know, going up towards the Grapevine here, approaching Templin and Pyramid Lake. So the only ones that are really passing, and I can tell you not passing them very quickly on the northbound 5 are the semi-trucks. Again, I don't see a passenger vehicle in sight. Well, yeah, there's small communities up here through the Pyramid and obviously up near Quail Lake area. There's sporadic small areas, but yeah, this is basically, as we all know, the transition between here and Bakersfield and Sacramento, San Francisco, and not a lot of commuters or people that live that way well, I shouldn't say that. A lot of people are commuting very far distances these days, but yeah, so most of it is just mostly people transitioning into areas further away. Okay. He missed it? Right. Yep. Yep. Yep, that just happened, David and Ellen, just a matter of seconds ago, right at Templin Highway. There was a black and white in the center divider, later across the fast lane, and what they are is they have the system where they can throw it out there and then pull it back on a string, so the officers in pursuit directly behind the suspect will not hit the spike strips. But it appeared that the suspect saw it coming and swerved around it, and that's another disadvantage for that technique when they're actually going this slow. It's easier for them to see and avoid those spike strips. So that was the plan here for the suspect, and it apparently worked. Want to? Well, I'm sure they will. Maybe in a position that they can utilize more cover, maybe be more utilize more concealment, if you will. That's something they may try here. Again, if that is coming up, we'll be sure to let you know after it happens or the attempt happens. We don't want to give anything away for the police tactics here, but yeah, it's difficult. It's a very difficult thing to do, especially at these speeds. They see them a mile away, so they definitely need concealment and cover in order to do it where the suspect won't see them. But this time it didn't work. It did not work. He went right by it, swerved around it. Right. So we're going to come on. We're transitioned over to the west side of the freeway as we continue northbound. We're going to try to get a better look here on the sunlit side of the pursuit. Try to get you a little better look at the driver, see if we can't see anything. You just saw his hand come out that left side window here. We are on the 5 here, the same speeds. We're looking at about 65 miles per hour, approaching Lake Pyramid here in probably another 5-10 minutes. With this speed, maybe 20. I'm kidding, but continuing here. But again, we don't want to make light of this because we don't know. The thing is, yes, if it truly is just a vandalism suspect that is just wanted for trashing a hotel room, we can make light of it. But the thing is, we just don't know. And what's interesting to me is that CHP is being very, very careful. They're being very careful of the suspect. They're not being very aggressive with the suspect. They're not trying to do that pit maneuver. They did try one spike, but they're giving him a very wide berth. So there may be information, again, that we're not aware of, if they've been told, that they know that we don't know. So I want to be careful that we don't make too much light of it, because we just really don't know what the suspect is running for. There may be something going on that we just don't have information on, and that's always, and we've seen that before many, many times in these pursuits, that we find out well after the fact what exactly they were running for. When in situations just like this, we were absolutely not knowing why he was running. Very strange situation here. We'll continue to see what happens with the pursuit and how it all turns out after he's in custody. Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's again, we're getting a closer look at the suspect here, David, and it looks like male white or maybe Hispanic, very difficult to tell, dark hair, pale complexion, dark shirt on. But again, usually in these types of pursuits, we see a lot of animated activity in them. They're moving around, their hands moving around, their heads looking left and right and up. But you can see that a little bit of movement there, but we're trying to get a better look for our viewers here. But very calm, very collected, and he's just driving along like there's nothing going on, like there's no one behind him. But yeah, they're very aware of who's overhead, and they know, again, it's just a matter of time that they're going to be taken into custody. Sometimes we've seen a situation, again, not saying that that's a situation here. Sometimes suspects will ingest any illegal narcotics or contraband they may have on board and try to ingest that so that that evidence is not retrieved by officers when they are taken into custody. So we've seen that happen before. Again, not saying that's a situation here, but sometimes that is what's happening. But again, it's just continuing here on these very slow speeds here. It looks like he's getting over to the right lanes, which is unusual. So we're going to pull out just a little bit, start to slowing down a little bit. To see exactly, this is something we have not seen him do. He likes to stay in that left lane, that number 1 lane, and it looks like he is slowing down just a little bit. We're looking at about 50 miles an hour here, just coming up to the south end of Lake Pyramid on the northbound 5. Yeah. That's right, David, and it is a hot topic issue, especially in the law enforcement communities. There is a lot of training that's done for officers on how to handle suspects that have the mental illness and how they react differently than a normal person would, and how to react to that. So they may not react the same way a normal a person that does not have these illnesses react. So it becomes a very difficult situation for officers to deal with, and determining what type of condition that they're in, how to best deal with that particular condition, because where you may deal with something one way in this particular condition, a suspect may not like being talked to in a certain tone or certain words, or there's so many different combinations of things that can set suspects off like this. So they may have information regarding this person's condition or their background or their medical history that's dictating the tactics that they use. Again, I go back to the supervisors in these pursuits. It's their job to ingest all this information and try to come up with some kind of a solution that is going to keep everybody safe, including the suspect, which is often not looked upon. They want the suspect to be taken in custody and not hurt or injured, or no one else, and that's the main goal. And right now, time is on the officer's side. He's not driving dangerously or erratically or endangering the lives of other motorists or pedestrians at this particular point, and so the time is on their side. So they're letting the suspect dictate the actions, maybe trying to communicate with him, maybe using a specific an expert that may be an expert if he has a condition in that particular condition, and try to talk him down, if you would, to just giving it up. It almost looks like he is on the phone. It appears like his right hand is up to his face and the left hand is on the wheel as we continue northbound on the 5 Vista del Lago, right to be in Pyramid Lake. But we're up pretty high right now, trying to stay out of the way as the terrain rises, and there's really hot. So what you're seeing is some of those atmospherics going through the shot, so it may look a little blurry, but we're shooting a very long way away, and the reflection of the sun is in helping, so we're going to try to mitigate that. But he's definitely on the phone, which could be a good sign that he's talking to, we're going to try to get rid of that reflection, talking to family or talking to the officers. But so that's a good sign. At least he's talking to someone to try to get him to maybe give this up. Yeah. We're going to climb for signal. Maybe. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yep. Sorry, guys. We were communicating with the desk, trying to get information to them. Could you repeat that last question, David or Alan? Uh-huh. Yeah, yep. Well, yeah, I mean there are some cars now that are actually that have that ability. Now, if this is the suspect's vehicle, I would think it might be an issue with, in order to do something like that, you would maybe have to have the registered owner's permission to do such a thing. And since if this driver is the registered owner, and turning off that vehicle may cause it to. There's a lot of questions that brings up. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like we just passed another spike strip, and it looks like he swerved to avoid it. But yeah, it brings up a lot of those questions, and it would be really nice if officers had the ability just to call someone and turn it off. But again, legally, can they do it? Secondly, if they can do it, is it something they want to do based on their knowledge of the suspect's activities and what his demeanor is? But so many things come into play, and that's why I keep bringing up that supervisor in the pursuit and the watch commander back at the station making these decisions. And at this time, it might be just better for them to let them run out of gas or kind of just stop. But all those things would be nice if they have the ability to do that and actually just shut it down, which is something that could happen. And we'll see if that does happen. We'll know if it's running out of gas or someone actually shut it down. But it brings up a lot of questions on how and when the police can actually utilize something like that in different situations. Yeah, yeah. Yep. And on top of that, sorry to interrupt, David, but on top of that as well is how is the car going to react when you shut it down? Are you going to lose control of the power steering? Is that going to cause the ability for him not to control the vehicle and cause an accident with injury? All things police are constantly thinking about, weighing the liability of taking a suspect into custody and the liability of hurting him or someone else. Fire? Show the chippy too. Show the chippy since he's talking about it. Uh, 10 minutes. What'd you say? I can't hear him. What did you say? Oh yeah, yeah. Yep, we just passed Highway 138, and that is something that that CHP does that most agencies don't. They continuously swap out their units, not only for the vehicles, for the officers. So it's very typical to see them every. It depends on the area, depends on the mileage, depends on the speed. The supervisors will actually swap out the units and get fresh officers, fresh vehicles into that pursuit, and continuously rotate them through as they move through different areas. One other thing I wanted to mention here is we pass on the northbound 5, past the 138, coming up on the Lebec area probably another 10 minutes ago. We're looking up into the area of the into the Central Valley. Just as we come down out of the Grapevine, we're seeing weather. We're seeing what looks to be some thunderstorms, some heavy rain. So it'll be interesting to see as he comes down the Grapevine what happens with that, where that weather is, and that'll also be dependent on how long we can stay with the pursuit. But right now the speeds have really dropped off. We're doing about 50 miles an hour right now in Air 7 HD, and so is the suspect. We're mimicking or tracking their speed. So again, not very fast right now. It seems like he's getting slower and slower as he comes up the hill. Could be an indication that the vehicle is starting to run out of fuel. That's something that Dave probably is more of an expert than I am on. But typically when you see them really start to slow down, it's usually a first indication that they may be getting a little low on the go juice here. We'll see at least 3 or 4 CHP officers still in pursuit here northbound as we approach the Lebec area. Oh, fire? Fire. Or dust. Or dust. Lebec. Yeah, interesting what you're talking about the lightning, Dallas. In fact, I don't want to take the shot off, but I'm looking ahead into the San Joaquin Valley, just to the bottom of the basin as we climb up for signal purposes, that we look to see what appears to be a small fire out there putting up a lot of smoke, and that could be a result of maybe a lightning strike out there. It's hard to tell if that's dust or a fire, but it is going across the 5 freeway. It's actually out to the west, and the wind blowing that towards the 5 freeway to the east. Looks like the freeway is completely obscured here, so it's interesting to see where the rain begins and the smoke from the fire starts, but we'll show you that when we get a chance to as we continue up here. We're approaching the city of Lebec here, Frazier Park area, at the top of the Grapevine here as we come up to El Tajon, the Tajon Pass area, and then we start coming down the freeway. In fact, I can see the 5 freeway right before it turns into 99, and the visibility, it absolutely goes 0-0, which means I can't even see the freeway. It disappears into almost what looks like a haboob, like a dust storm, but it appears to be, it could be dust, it could be smoke, I'm not real sure. In fact, if you guys give us the okay, I don't think suspects do anything. We can give you a quick look at that, but you let me know as we continue here northbound. But it might be dust. It's hard to tell right now. Okay. Wide, wide, pan left, wide, pan left. Pan left, pan left, pan left. Yeah. Yeah. And we're going to pan right, Dallas. We're going to show you where the 5 freeway, you pan right, Rob. We're going to show you right where the 5 goes in, right there. Push in. You can see right where the 5 disappears into that dust. So that's where suspect's heading. And we're going to come back to the pursuit, but you can see. Yeah. Well, yeah, we don't see a lot of those here. A lot of those obviously in Phoenix, as Dallas mentioned, not so much up here. Maybe up in this area, which we don't get to very much. We're going to try to get back on this pursuit here. Yeah, if he continues on in that direction, whoa, where'd he go here? We're still looking for him. You guys got him? Come on back down to your right, Rob. Back down to your right, and we'll get the pursuit. That 5 freeway right before it comes into the 99, it goes literally right into 0 visibility. So that is going to be a concern for us, obviously, to fly in. We'll see when we get closer that way. Maybe we can climb over the top, and if we can see out the other side, we'll see how far we can continue into the San Joaquin Valley for signal. But we'll continue to climb here as we're back on the pursuit, which has not changed at all here. We are again coming up on the Lebec area here. Same speeds. It looks like he may be picking up the speed just a little bit, but same speeds here as we approach this haboob here in the San Joaquin Valley. The higher we get, the further we can go, and we can get over the top. Well, if we can see, before we go over the top of it, we can see that if we can see the other side, that's what I want to see. If we can't, we don't, obviously. Or we go around the east side and try to go back to the. It may be just small. I should call, but you let me know. But that's why I'm hoping to get high enough to see past it, right? Yep. Hang on. Yeah, sorry, I missed the question. The desk was talking. Can you repeat that question? Yeah. We're discussing with the pilot right now. We're going to continue here just a little bit further as we go down the 5 freeway into the San Joaquin. We're going to go up to the edge of it, take a look at it, and see if it's going to be safe for us to transition. We may have to move a little bit further east, but again, we're feeling the winds from the shear in that area. Again, nothing serious yet, but we'll make a go or no go here as we get a little closer. We're talking that over right now on Air 7. Show the vehicle. There you go. Go ahead, tighten up on him. Go ahead. Go for it.
You have any room to climb some more? Yeah, we're climbing and we're continuing north. We're discussing, or we'll see if we can't see on the other side of it for one. And again, I don't even know how much further we can go for signal anyway. And plus fuel too. We may have to make Bakersfield as a fuel stop at this point. All right. What's that? Okay. Well, I can see. I mean, it's your call again. I can see. We go that way and then kind of look that way. Do you think that's a possibility? Yeah, I'll try that. Just start going off that way. Don't worry about the pursuit. Just cross over. Watch your levels there, Rob. You're dark. You want to see the Haboob again, guys? Okay. Try to get some speed ahead of them so they'll cross behind so we don't go too toppy. Well, we're coming up to the edge of it right now. We're up well above it, and Marcos, our pilot here, we're making a decision, as are all the other news helicopters here. Just getting a feel if we're feeling any of the effects of the wind shear that's causing us a movement. Right now, so far we haven't. A little bumpy up here, but we can actually see through the other side where it's at. It's very, very thick off to the west. Almost looks like the winds are from the west, out in the west, blowing east here. So we're going to try to move a little bit further to the east. We see that thunderstorm Dallas was talking about. That's the one that's moving south and east. So we're trying to stay between the Haboob and the thunderstorm, and it actually is not too terrible right now. We can actually see the other side of the 5. Keep climbing if you can. Just keep going that way. Yep. You got any more zoom? Do we have to descend? Okay, hold your altitude because of the signal. You're going to need, yeah. every bit of 10,000 if we can do it, because we're going to have to for signal purpose. Well, there's your dust, guys. We're calling. You're losing us? Are you asking for more altitude, right? Oh, we're 9,000 climbing. Hey guys, it looks like they're actually into that dust storm right now. So you see how that visibility's changed. We're on the leading edge of that haboob. The thicker, the heavier stuff's much further to our west, but you can see that visibility going. They may use this as an opportunity, if we can see it, to maybe to sneak up on the suspect and try to get that pit maneuver in. In fact, it looks like they're closing in. Robbie, if you could double up on that. Difficult to see here, but again, the visibility really bad. Barely see through all that dust from that haboob, but they are continuing here, and we're coming up on the intersection between the 5 and the 99. So he can stay on the 5 or possibly jump on that 99 northbound through the desert area here. But it looks like the Chippy's kind of creeping up on him. Again, we're up at about 9,000 feet above this haboob. Very difficult to see, but it looks like he's trying to close in on him. And we'll see if we can't make this picture any better. We slow up just a little bit to see if we can't see this. But he's going to get into some better visibility here in just a second. He's going through the thick of it right now, and they should pop out into some better visibility any second here. But again, we're in the clear. We're north of the haboob. That is moving from the west to the east, and it's actually converging with a thunderstorm, which is on the right side. So we have the haboob on the left side of our helicopter. We got the thunderstorm on the right side of our helicopter, about 4 or 5 miles out, and they're converging on each other. And right now, we don't see the pursuit, but hopefully it'll pop into view here in just another second. I'm not sure if that's an exit or if that's actually the transition onto the 99. I think it may be the transition onto the 99. So we're trying to look back and see. We'll tell you shortly if that terminates at a straight here, but it almost looks like that may be the transition road that either goes to the 5 and back underneath the 99. We'll tell you in a second here. We're so far away right now, and I'm looking out the window, Air 7, and we're probably 4 or 5 miles away because of all the there's just going to be a pit. Oh no, that's just another vehicle. I thought that might have been a white CHP vehicle, but I guess yeah. But we see that the CHP has actually given him a lot of room here. I believe that's him off to the left. Rob, I'm not really sure. Okay, that's him. So CHP's actually backed up quite a bit. I don't see them anywhere in the vicinity. That's very interesting. So we'll keep an eye on that here. It looks like he may be staying on the 5 freeway, yeah. Yeah. There's I'm sorry to interrupt, David. There's a section of the Haboop that's a little thicker here, but it doesn't last very long. In fact, we're going to try to maneuver the helicopter a little bit further. Not only that, we're shooting into the sun, which doesn't really help, but what's interesting about this is we try to get the visual on the suspect again, is that CHP is backed up tremendously from the suspect and giving him a very, very wide berth here. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to try to get in a better position here to see that. With all the dust and the light, we want to make sure we're on the right vehicle. But I did see the CHP had backed up along, and it's very difficult, especially when the CHP is not behind the suspect vehicle, to stay with the suspect vehicle. But we're pretty sure he made that transition. We're fairly certain that's him. You may have a better look in your larger monitors here, but I'm pretty certain that's him. But we don't see a CHP anywhere near him right now. Now's your chance to find him, Rob. I know he had a Sure? Okay, where's the car? Okay. Yeah, well, we want to make sure we've got the right suspect. We're getting some information here that we're trying to verify here. Again, when he got in that dust storm, we kind of lost him, but we're going to try to find him here. But so give us a minute or two, and we'll get back to you with a suspect vehicle. Come back here. Come back. Come back. Don't go too tight. I can't believe we lost it. Where are the other helicopters? That's him. That's him. For sure. Yeah, he's on the off-ramp. Okay, don't get too toppy now. We got him. He's on the off-ramp, guys. I have to figure out what off-ramp that is. Where is that? That could be Sandrini. I don't see anybody yet. Pull out a little bit so I can see where that is, just for a street shape. Quickly. Okay, that's square. No, well, maybe. We didn't. That's definitely him. Well, that's what I meant, yeah. Is that the 99 or the 5? That's the 5. And that looks like it may be Corpus Road, if I'm not mistaken. Or is that the 99? I don't know.
Located
I need to know where. Oh, well, we're really top. We're like right over it. He looks like he's off at Maricopa Highway, we believe. We're sure that's him, right, Rob? Yes, we're getting really toppy. Okay. Oh, we're going to go to Bakersfield, right? Okay. Just make sure we get enough to get there. Okay, come on back in. Go tight. We're really toppy. You got to do something. Okay, he's in the parking. Okay, Maricopa Highway, and he's at a station. We're really toppy. Push in, push in. Give me the name of that station. I know, because we're right over it. You need to get some distance. I understand. Please make it happen. Chevron station on Maricopa. That's him right there. Watch it. Hold here. If you can. If you can park it, try. I don't know if you can. Push in tight. See if it gets out. Okay. Yeah, we got to get into the wind and not go any further north because we'll lose him. He's just sitting there to see. We come back into it. I didn't see him get out. Did you? I don't think the police know where he's at. We maybe get on the air and tell them. Well, right. Well, is everybody else on the same thing we are right now? Okay. That was a bad call. Okay, tell him to switch to Oat. Tell him to go to Oat. Saddle's a bad call. If they can switch to Oat. Can you please pass that along to transmission? Yeah, Michelle, Mark, and can you hear me in Air 7 here? Okay, great. So the suspect has pulled over. He is at a gas station, a Chevron gas station on Maricopa Highway, just west of the 5 freeway. We lost him for a second in the dust storm, the haboob here, but right now he's gotten off at Maricopa Highway. That's just south, just north of the 5 and the 99, and we have not seen the suspect exit the vehicle. So we don't know when the CHP lost him, but we think he may have lost him in the storm on our off-ramp. He got off at Maricopa Highway here, and he is sitting at this pump. We saw him pull here and stop and he has not exited the vehicle. Still sitting in the driver's seat right here at this chevron. Again, we're very, very high because of the altitude for signal here in the area, out in the San Joaquin Valley here. But right now the suspect remains in his car sitting, and we'll see if the CHP actually gets here and takes him into custody at this point. He hasn't got out to get any fuel. Could be a possibility that he's out of fuel, but when he got off the freeway, we did not see any CHP officers behind him. We're going to show you some video that we shot earlier, I believe, from Air 7HE. The suspect was originally wanted by the Inglewood Police Department for a misdemeanor vandalism of a hotel room in Inglewood. Well, Inglewood went into pursuit of the suspect. It was eventually taken over by the CHP on the northbound 405. He came up back to, we're going to stay live here, I guess, but he is wanted for vandalism and felony evading. We watched this pursuit, and here's the tape from the video from earlier we were talking about. The pursuit, very, very slow, Mark and Michelle, as you saw. Oh, there's a suspect out of the vehicle right now. We're going to come back live. There's a suspect wearing that dark clothing. He got out of the vehicle and got back in, so it's very possible he may have saw a CHP vehicle coming up. He didn't want to interrupt that video, but he did temporarily get out of the vehicle, and now he's going again. So we're going to widen out just for a second if we can to see if there is a CHP vehicle in the area that he may have spotted, or maybe grabbing another position. So we're going to reposition the helicopter a little bit further northbound here as he switched pumps. It almost looks like maybe the pump is on the right side of the vehicle and he didn't know it, but that is our suspect wearing black shorts, black shoes, and a black sweatshirt. Looks like he might have a white stripe along the side of the shorts, dark shoes, but gassing up here. And now this could go a long way here if he continues, but that fits the description of the suspect that we did see inside the window. Gotta apologize here, we're above 10,000 feet here in Air 7 HD, very, very high because of the windy situation. You see that piece of cardboard that kind of flew around. Go ahead. Yeah. Right. The Chevron station is on Maricopa Highway and is just west of the 5 freeway. That's where Maricopa is the first off-ramp north of the 5 and the 99. So he exited the freeway, he drove westbound, and went to this gas station. It looks like he's back in the car and driving. Don't really see him right now. Okay, we're going to push forward here just a little bit here, Marcos. We're going to come forward so we see him. He moved to another pump. That's going to give you a good look at the suspect, but that's definitely matches the description of the suspect that we saw when we looked in the driver's side of the vehicle here. But Maricopa Highway is where we have it on our mapping system here, just west of the 5 freeway. Maricopa being the first exit south of where the 5 and the 99 merge. Correction, north of where the 5 and the 99 merge.
Kinsey here with ABC 15, and I have to stress to you, I have never seen a car chase suspect stop for gas. I am amazed right now.
Yeah. I have to tell you something. Maybe, yeah. Yes. Yep, absolutely. Well, yeah, going into the Chevron with his backpack, which is unusual. Not sure if he's going to go maybe change inside, but what I found very interesting, we're going to try to get a better position for you guys, is he pulled up to the gas pumps and he got out of the vehicle to fuel, and he realized that the gas fuel area for the vehicle was on the wrong side of the vehicle. So then there he's back in the vehicle. Well, then he had to move the vehicle over to the right side, and he got out to look like he was starting to put fuel in. But I'm not sure if he did. If he did it very quickly. So what he's done is he put a backpack on, he walked to the store, and then he walked back into the vehicle just a few seconds ago, as you saw live from here from Air 7HE. Not really sure why that was, whether he took something, it's very possible he took something out of the backpack and put it in a garbage can here. That's something that officers will definitely review, maybe getting rid of evidence there in a trash can, out of the backpack and in, but he's back in the car. It does not appear that he's got the gas nozzle in the vehicle right now, but just sitting there here on Highway 166, Maricopa Highway, just west of the 5 freeway. Well, we're so high right now. We're at 10,500 feet, and we're trying to get so much dust around here. We're trying to get eyes outside, but I don't want to pull out too wide. In fact, maybe we can't take a quick look. We'll pull out wide. Rob Gluckman, see if we can't. There's a CHP right there, pulling in, and he's probably gonna deploy right behind the vehicle. So, and we'll see what happens here. Now this is a high-risk felony stop. Guns are out. Telling commands, it looks like the suspect's he's giving up. So whatever he may have had, oh, that's not good. That's not good at all. Yeah, so now he's complying, proning himself out. Officers giving him commands. Hopefully some backing units will get here. But what they're going to want to do is they're going to want to go to the front of that store and look at what he possibly took out of that backpack. Because he wasn't there very long. Went to the front of the store, maybe hid it somewhere, put it in a trash can. I'm sure there's security video at that gas station that'll show exactly what he did. But very possible that he did something with evidence very quickly. He wasn't in that area very long. Got out of our sight and walked back to the car with the backpack and put it back into the car. So right now that officer's put out a backup call. He's going to wait for some additional units here to arrive, telling them he's got the suspect at gunpoint. Wait for them to arrive and to take him to custody. There's his backing unit. They're going to help out, maybe get 1 or 2 additional units here before they hook him up and take him into custody. Very interesting to see if they try to gather that evidence, if that was even the case. But it was very odd that he took his backpack out, walked under that area in front of the store for a second, and then took the backpack back to the car, obviously concealing whatever he did with that backpack. But again, didn't see him fuel up, but it looks like CHP has got the suspect proned out right now, just waiting for maybe another officer or 2 to take him into custody. Watch it. Yep. Well, let's get fuel.